What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV, second video of the day. If you missed the first video of the day, it is listed and linked in the description down below and in the card in the top right corner, as well as a bunch of other videos that you may enjoy. In this video, we're talking about PlayStation Meeting 2016. What is PlayStation Meeting? It is a meeting, an annual meeting that occurred yesterday, September 7th. And this meeting basically was the keynote for the new PlayStation 4 consoles. There are two new PlayStation 4 consoles coming out that are going to be replacing the standard PlayStation 4 for the remainder of this console generation. There is a new slimmer version of the PlayStation 4, and there is the PlayStation 4 Pro. And in this video, I'd like to discuss those, and maybe if you're interested in getting into PlayStation 4, or if you're interested in upgrading, I'll let you guys know if it's worth it or not. So, starting with the new PlayStation 4 Slim, most of you guys are going to call it that, even though it's not actually a PlayStation 4 Slim. It is just the replacement for the PS4. The new model of PS4 is just standardly slimmer. It's slimmer, it's smaller, it's more compact, right? It saves energy. Now, here's the thing. They're kind of dialing it back a little bit. Yes, it's still the same kind of CPU and processor and everything in there. It doesn't have an optical port. And I've heard a lot of people talking about this like it's a good thing. A lot of people are saying, oh, it doesn't have an optical port. Like, oh, well, we're moving into the future. Optical is a thing of the past. Well, I mean, my Turtle Beach headset plugs in through optical. That is the only option for my Turtle Beach headset. Like, I have a Turtle Beach PX4. Now, it's a pretty old headset, but it is like the original PlayStation 4 exclusive headset from Turtle Beach. Say I upgrade to a PlayStation 4 Slim, I can't use my headset anymore. So basically, this removal of the optical port on the PlayStation 4 Slim is just cutting out third-party products. I know a lot of different like headsets, like my headset, for example, it's sort of wireless, sort of wired, so it plugs into my controller, but it's also wireless to the receiver that plugs into the PlayStation 4, and that is what activates my ability to be able to hear the in-game audio. So I can still use my headset to talk, but I'll have to turn on my stereo. It's just ridiculous. Why would they take away the optical port? It doesn't make sense. Optical is such a small port, and it takes such a small amount of space. It doesn't take that much processing power to use an optical port. I don't know why they got rid of it. It's not like it's a thick port or anything like that, that it would have made the system a little bit thicker if they had it on there. It wouldn't have mattered. They could have just kept the optical port, and everybody could have just moved on and lived happily ever after. But that is basically the only downside to this new PlayStation 4 Slim as of right now. There is a new Dualshock 4 controller, which I would kind of consider a downside as well. This new Dualshock 4 controller, there are two new features on it as far as we know. There hasn't been a lot of coverage on the Dualshock 4 controllers yet. The Dualshock 4.5s, I'm calling them. So the standard Dualshock 4 controller that we have right now is, well, it's a great controller. It is one of the best controllers in the whole history of gaming, in my own personal opinion. I think the touchpad is a little underused in most games, but apart from that, it is a beautiful controller. It's one of the best in the whole world. But there is a light bar on the back, right? So you've got this light bar, and it's honestly, it's just more annoying than anything. This bright light bar that's on the back. It'll change colors with your games, but not a lot of developers really use it. They just keep it one standard color the whole game, no matter what. Even though it's got a whole bunch of different color functionality and stuff, and different kind of like strobe effects that you can put in there, no developers use it at all. Like I've barely seen anybody use this light bar. The most I've ever seen this light bar be used is in Killzone Shadowfall. Is that what it was called? The Killzone game for PS4. When you were getting hurt, it would flash red. When you're in a safe zone, it would turn green. That was about all. That was like the most functionality I've seen anyone use with that light bar. And I guess PlayStation thinks that the light bar is like this great feature that needs to be more prominent on the controller, because now on the front of the touchpad there is a mini light bar built in. So on this new DualShock 4.5, you're going to have a light flashing in your eyes the whole time you're playing. this is going to be really, really annoying. And I don't know how bright the light on the front is going to be. It's kind of like built right into the touchpad, so I have a feeling like the lights aren't going to be as effective. And I feel like lights built into the touchpad, that's a good way for the lights to get broken or something. But to each their own. I mean, I guess Sony or PlayStation or whoever came up with this idea for a light bar on the front thought that the light bar was just a beautiful idea and that we need more light bar on our controller. But that is basically the only like major change that is happening to the DualShock 4. The other change that they kind of really briefly mentioned, like without any kind of explanation, is there's some kind of USB dongle or something that you can get that will reduce latency on your controller, so that basically you'll have like a lag-free experience. There's not going to be any input lag on your controllers now. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Maybe there's I'm pretty sure what they said is a USB dongle, so like you just plug it into your PlayStation 4 and it syncs up to that USB somehow. Like I don't really understand how it's going to reduce the latency if the Bluetooth is going to a USB instead of just going to the PlayStation. In my own personal opinion, I think that would increase the latency because it would have to go through the USB and then into the PlayStation. But whatever, they're the people that make the system, they would know. So I guess we'll find out a little bit more about that when that starts to get covered a little bit more. But basically, we've got this new PlayStation 4 Slim, and it's actually gonna be a pretty good system apart from missing an optical port, and it's a lot more energy efficient. It still has the same processor and everything. It's still just as powerful, and it's cheaper. It's actually $299 at launch, and it's launching September 15th, which is not bad. That's actually like right around the corner. They kind of came out with this thing and they're like, all right, we're launching it like next week, which is pretty good. But I'm just kind of mad that when I purchased my own PS4, like way back when I purchased my PS4, I was like, I bought it when it first came out, like in the first couple weeks that the PlayStation 4 came out. My PlayStation 4 was like $499 or something like that, or it was expensive. And now you can get this new slim version that's all fancied up for $299. And the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is the other PlayStation that was announced, is $399. So even for like the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is like this super advanced model, is way cheaper than the original PlayStation 4. It's annoying to me. Like, oh great, so I paid like an extra $100 on top of the super special top of the line PlayStation 4, and I just got a standard old crappy PS4. But that's just, I guess that's just how the market goes. The PlayStation 4 Pro, let's talk about that for a minute. So the PlayStation 4 Pro, is it worth it? No. Is it worth that extra $100? No. Unless you have a 4K TV, which I'm betting, or like a 4K monitor or something, which I'm betting like 1% of you have, it's not worth it. All the PlayStation 4 Pro has over the PlayStation 4, well, yes, it does have higher processing power and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot bigger. But the only thing that it's really made for, all that processing power, that extra processing power, and all that extra space and all the extra technology in there, is just going towards making 4K nicer on the system. And 4K doesn't even work on the system still. This PlayStation 4 Pro is designed to make 4K look nicer and make displays near to 4K, but it still doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player in it. You've got this 4K PlayStation 4 that's designed from the ground up to play things in 4K, but it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player. Instead, it's just got the technology to make high-definition video and high-definition graphics look like 4K. It improves the graphics, that's for sure. It makes everything look like just beautiful and really nice. But it's not true 4K because there's not a true 4K Blu-ray player in there like the Xbox One S is going to have. So that's kind of annoying that PlayStation 4, they come out with this new system and it's made for 4K. Like that is the only reason why you would go out to buy a PS4 Pro, is if you have a 4K TV, if you are just like crazy about quality and you need a 4K PlayStation, this is the reason you go to buy it. But it can't play true 4K. I don't know, it's ridiculous. So the PlayStation 4 Pro, it's well, it's a 4K player. It's got HDR, which actually all of the PlayStations will have HDR soon. They're going to actually upgrade all the PlayStation 4s. Your standard PlayStation 4 that you have right now, it's HDR capable. It just needs to be updated. So there's going to be an update coming out very soon, and it's going to be update firmware 4.0. And in that firmware, everyone is going to have access to HDR, which is pretty cool. Even though not a lot of us will get use out of it, because again, you need a really, really high definition display to actually get any use out of that kind of stuff. Same as the 4K. Like 4K is still such a new thing in the realm of entertainment, and it's still so expensive. Like, think back to when 1080p TVs came out. Like 1080p was like this new amazing thing. Everyone was running their old box TVs, and then this 1080p comes out, and it was so expensive no one could afford it. No one could buy a 1080p TV because they were just so special. Well, that's what 4K is now. 1080p, you can buy them a dime a dozen, and now 4K is super expensive. So we gotta wait for like 8K TVs or something to come out before 4K TVs will drop to a cheap enough price that we can actually purchase them and make use of our PS4 Pros. But that is basically all I wanted to say about this PlayStation meeting that happened the other day. There was a bunch of gameplay shown off too, Mass Effect Andromeda and Horizon Zero Dawn and a bunch of stuff like that, but I'm sure you guys don't really care that badly. But PlayStation 4 Pro, definitely not worth it unless you have a 4K display, unless you're just rolling in it and you're just super elitist and you need the top quality everything. Do not buy a PlayStation 4 Pro. It's not worth it. PlayStation 4 Slim, no optical port. That's kind of annoying. But apart from that, it is a big step up over the standard PlayStation 4. That is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the next one.